Well, this here's Clint Cowpoke. Couple of mornings ago, I was thinking about an 80s cartoon show from 86 to 88, 2 seasons. It was called Kissyfur. That's a strange name, but called Kissyfur. Now, Kissyfur was about a little bear cub, and his pappy. They was widowed because they was in the circus, and the mammy was killed in the circus, and it's a kid show, believe it or not. Although the pilot is pretty dark, yeah. So she's dead, and they have to flee the circus. So in the beginning, we get the circus, and we get the whole, with the circus people being kind of jerks to the bears. In this universe, humans and bears and other critters are basically can talk. Apparently, typical of some of the 80s cartoons. Typical of stuff from that time period, Winnie the Pooh and Gummy Bears and all that. Teddy Ruxpin, same time period. So this was a Deke production, a Universal Group production, which is why we can't show anything from it because it's Universal Group, and they would get mad, even though they don't animation anymore. And Mendez and some of them others have been known for the Winnie the Pooh and Charlie Brown and stuff. And two of the voice actors were known for other stuff that there's totally a connection to. I'll get to that in a moment. But yes, Kissyfur ran for roughly 27 episodes, even though some sources claim 45 to 27. It was only 2 seasons. They added up. They didn't make a full. It was Deke Animation and Animation Studio, so they didn't have. They didn't have like a Japanese studio to help them out like Disney does. So, the Deke Animation took them a while to make season 2. So 27 episodes. There aren't 45. It's just 27. It's not on DVD unless you get bootlegs. I don't recommend them. They're ported from the videotapes. If you can get a hold of the videotapes and then transfer them, I guess. Yeah. But you'll probably only find the first pilot and the second pilot, and you'll find maybe the beginning of season 2. They didn't really air a lot of them. It seemed like Shout Factory wouldn't pick this up and decide to just put it out. It's not that long. But yeah, it was a kid's show. I do remember it. Little nephews and nieces and whatnot. I watched it. And Wrench into Mark's cards, and he remembered it too as well. The Kissyfur. He's younger than me, so he remembered it. 86. It was mainly the Transformers at that point, but on occasion there were kid shows on and stuff. Because one nephew was a baby, so played in the background. Even though I don't think it as a baby he's going to get much out of it at the time. But yeah, they played it a lot on Saturday morning and stuff, along with the Pac-Man Power Hour, whatever. It sounds dirty, but no, it's Pac-Man, the video game, and Rubik the Amazing Cube, and Back to the Future, and Rambo the cartoon, and all that other stuff. So, this interesting little show about this circus bear and stuff bears some similarities to a certain other show with a single father and a cub that are bears. A certain other show. That became world famous. Also you have Cowpoke like sounding bear in it, but he wasn't me. I would have been a kid. But yeah. Let's see. So he had like. He drove a swamp taxi, and he would have the bear behind him on the jet ski. Swamp taxi. It's a boat, out on the boat. And they lived in the swamp, and Ellie Mae was a sort of like the New Zoo Review character, but it was more of a different character. She was a bear that was sweet on him, and a really little squirrel was sweet on the kid. And the kid was like 8, supposed to be 8. So. But in bear years, that's a little older than 8. Teenager bear. But he's supposed to be a kid, I guess. So anyway, that's Kissyfur. And Kissyfur was I just thought I'd mention it because I can't show clips from it. It's Universal where they would freak out. They don't even do animation anymore, none. But well, yeah, it was cheesy. It was for little kids, so it was cheesy. But it wasn't nearly as it was saccharine, but it wasn't nearly as saccharine as like Teletubbies, which came later in the '90s. Teletubbies was more so no bears in that one. It was more similar to the the Gummy Bears, I guess. I think Gummy Bears was a little older, but not by much. The Gummy Bears, that was Disney. But that's not the show that this show is similar to. In 1990, a new show started on the Disney and the Disney Channel. A new show about the Jungle Book characters that were updated into a modern bayou setting, even though they were in the original, they were in the Congo, but now they're in the bayou. And single father bear, Baloo, Clint Cowpoke, the kid, Clint Cowpoke, Kid Cowpoke, and there you go. And the girl, the lady that's sweet on him, the fire for hire, Talespin. Now, Disney has been known to borrow stuff and ideas from other things before. And you could say, like, oh, this cartoon is obscure, this Kissyfur. It's not related to Talespin at all. But it's totally related to Talespin. It's not even a conspiracy. Two of the voice actors from Kissyfur, 1989 and 90, went on to do the voice acting of Baloo and the kid from the Kissyfur show. I think they switched roles, but they're the same people. So this other show is sort of like this weird spiritual cousin of Talespin, which became a hit Disney thing. They might have even... Did they do a movie? I think they did a TV movie too. Tailspin. And of course, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. This obscure little cartoon that nobody really remembers anymore. And critics said, oh, this is awful. It should go away. It's not awful. It's just sort of cutesy and saccharine. It ain't awful. It's all right. If you have nostalgia for it, you could stand to have it re-released as a DVD box. And they could totally do that. We're not going to do that. I'm saying someone out there should do that. We don't have the technology to do that. We can only put out our own fan films. But yeah, Kissyfur. Strange name too, Kissyfur. I guess it was their family name or something. It's a Kissyfur boy. Or, it's weird. But there is Rule 34 of it. But if you're squeamish, don't look it up. And yeah, you probably shouldn't because gross. But yeah, but yeah, as a kids cartoon, it was 27 episodes. It's the same Deke Productions also did. Actually, some of them ended up on Biker Mice from Mars, which came out in the 90s, a little later. Inspector Gadget, also Deke. What was that? There was another one too. Street Rats, I think, also. Yeah, so all rat imagery going on. Yeah. Biker Mice from Mars was awesome. So yeah, they were so the throwback to these 80s cartoons where you have that kind of thing, going on. 86, the year after Back to the Future, 86, 87, and then 89, 90. So 88, well, roughly 88, 89, I would say. I think they're throwing that off a little bit. It's 88, 89. So there was 2 years later they released the second season. So and there were 29 episodes, and some of the available DVD ones you can get them on you can get the video because I used to own VCR, hipster or something. You can still show the videos of Kissyfur online. Yeah, so it eventually went into obscurity and disappeared, only to be replaced about less than 6 months later by another show that was up and coming, Talespin. So, just Talespin. And it just so happens, coincidentally, that in 1989, at the end of On Location 1, there's a season finale, we went off to Disneyland, season 2. So, 89, and then 92 we were there. So. And then 2009, we can go back there in 2 years. But yeah, many years. In 2015. And, after the pandemic, we will go back to Disneyland. Be back there again. And also they were, yeah, I'm rambling on about Disneyland. But yeah, because I watched another video on the, Disneyland, getting ideas from Murasaki, the Hidden Fortress is that Atlantis movie was the Hidden Fortress, just rewritten. That was good. The Kim of the White Lion is Blind King. That kind of thing. But yeah, so yeah, they were talking about the Videoplis, one of the channels, nightclub thing, saying, "Oh, it doesn't exist anymore." Actually, it does. They just renamed it and put it in another part of the park. Just so you guys know. The original '90s one closed in '89. We didn't see it when we were there in '89. It was already closed because of some incident that happened. Summer of '89, it was not open. '92, there was a version of it. It was open, but we didn't go there. We just walked around. Tim and I were there. Big Tim and I were there. Yeah, we didn't really. Yeah, he didn't feel like dancing to himself. But yeah, it was there. It was the theater thing. They called it the theater thing. It was part of the Toontown Theater next to it at that point. Yeah, so it was kind of gone by '92. It was gone by late '89, really. I don't think they really planned on reopening it. Then they had a resurgence in 2010, so it wasn't yet rebuilt by 2009. They were going to put it in something called California Adventure, which was half finished at that point. Oh, California Adventure was, yeah, they kept refurbishing it. It was half done in 2009. They were going to put it in there 10 years later. Didn't get it up until 2010. Then they had like the theater and the outdoor show and a lot of other stuff. When Mark's Cards and the cast were there in 2015, it was back. They had, not only that, they had a large theater opening area in California Adventure, so next door to it, and they had all that. So, it was there. They also had a version of it set up in the Alice in Wonderland portion in the Mad Hatter, near the Mad Hatter Cafe thing, and there was a version of it in there. They were playing techno music and Disney songs, and they did some freak dancing. Yeah, they totally allowed that. But nothing sensual, just regular freak dance. Freaky dancing, Yeah, you couldn't like twerk or anything. Probably look at you funny. But yeah, so it's still around. Yeah, so this was my rambly review thing going on about other things that isn't Kissyfur. But yeah, I just thought that I'd mention that the Videoplis wasn't gone as much as they said it was gone. They kept reopening it in different places in the park. So yeah, it's not gone. Maybe by late 2015 and there was a version of it even in 2018 because they tore down part of the Toontown thing to rebuild the Star Wars thing. So they kind of reopened part of the theater in 2018. So they had part of it open. We could go and watch the stuff. But it wasn't really a concert hall on that side. Still, yeah, part of it's gone. But yeah, and there's little pieces of the Bear Country stuff around there. Talespin stuff there too. So, but of course they're not going to mention Kissyfur, which is where it's all started. Kissyfur. So that's a review of Kissyfur. I just thought I would review it. Yep. And I probably lost the accent a little bit there. So, bear cartoon. Let's see, what have I got? I suppose I should briefly mention, since I got 40 minutes, just to ramble a little bit. Also in 1986, I know we covered a Teddy Ruxpin story and all that. Also in '86, the biggest bear thing out there. It's a little bear thing. Teddy Ruxpin. The Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin. A talking bear with a plane. You play the tapes and put the tapes in it. Play the tapes. Everybody thought of a joke where they would put Metallica in the tape and make it play. It wouldn't play. It was designed to play just with the tapes you had with it. It's a kiddie thing for lonely kids, basically. So it's kind of similar. The talking teddy bear thing. They had a girl version. It was called Living Pamela. It talked too. But it wasn't a bear. It was just a different company that did a different one. The bear. No, they had other doll ones that kind of talked. And also we have. Yeah, so Teddy Ruxpin, yeah, the Silly Kelly version was pretty funny. Did a Teddy Ruxpin and Creepypasta, 2 different movies. The same theme of the convention. Now, wasn't this summer, obviously, it was last summer. And we also had the re-release of the Mousetrap thing. Also, yeah, last year, 2019 for Halloween. And we watched on Halloween Nightmare in Blood. And we are approaching Halloween next month again. So we are going to be watching Manos, the Hands of Fate on Halloween and reviewing it. Or I am in the studio. Of course, Mark's cards will not be there because they're cool. Yes, Manos will be the next the Halloween special. Now,